basically wanted to talk about like um, FBI and Farcaster's presence in India. Before we get into all of that, um, I wanted you to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
I mean, the short intro summary is that I've been a crypto builder for the past, I think, like 3 years. I've tried building multiple products, I think like 10 odd products in the space. Built like builder communities largely, and built a crypto payment startup by like understanding the space is that it's a casino. 99% of the projects don't make sense, but 1% will push the entire space forward. And that's why I'm here. Prior to this, I've spent 10 odd years doing standard financial consulting, investment banking. And yeah, I mean, it's so far back that I can't even look at that side of myself. And yeah, it's like, I think the space changes you, and I am that now. Like I've become this whole like crypto builder now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And honestly, I haven't told you, but you're like one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. And your energy is just like I love your energy, and I think you spread that energy to everyone around you, which is I feel like that best part. And you have like that perfect knack of building such strong, high signal community. So I'm so glad that you're bringing this to Farcaster.
Hmm.
But like I I think right now at this stage with Farcaster, with all this huge digital like energy with frames and everything, I think it's that time that Farcaster needs to expand outside of the US. And mainly it is US energy, right? So I'm so happy like you're bringing this to India. Um, and I think honestly, this is probably one of the biggest movements right now in Farcaster. And I love also how this ecosystem growth is actually just happening naturally because like the
Right,
builders are
right.
so, yeah, they're so, you know, they love what's being built and they want to grow it. And there's no marketing push from Farcaster themselves. They're just like shipping stuff. And they're like, here, this is what we built. Go use
Yeah,
it.
and I think that's what excited me personally, right? It's there's nobody saying here, take money, come build on us. It's hey, this is cool. We have built this. Do you want to do something with it? In fact, not even that, right? It's just like we saw it and we thought, okay, this is cool. What can we do with it? And I think that's where this whole like Farcaster Builders India, this whole FBIP started with me wanting to try out frames and building like a frame for this like chat relay kind of thing that I was trying out within Farcaster. And then that led to me speaking with Rahul, saying, okay, let's do like multiple things. This is very quick, fast, easy, and to build on top, see traction. And it's super cool, right? Because it's gamified. You can do a bunch of things in a social setting. And so that led to like Rahul and I chatting. We got in like four more builders within MakerDog. Started working on projects simultaneously on frames, and then we're like, okay, this is not fast enough, right? Like this has been like, I think 48 less than 48 hours since frames launched, and we're like, okay, this is mad, right? Because there's so much builder energy coming out from the states, and we're like, how do we get Indian builder momentum to this like new technology play or primitive that they've somehow unlocked, right? And yeah, so that led to Rahul and I tinkering with the idea, and it was insane the kind of momentum around frames. Suddenly, we didn't plan it technically. I think it sort of like rickrolled in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy. I literally would look away from my phone for 2 seconds and suddenly 10 new frames have already been built and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. So yeah, tell me like what are your intentions, with FBI? Like I'm already loving the energy. So yes, the frames, I think energy was one part of it, but what about now, like for the future?
To have like a long term play here, but
Yeah.
I think that okay, this is cool technology. Uh, when paired with social graph primitives, what can it unlock, right? And we don't know if it is sustainable, right? The frames growth that we have seen. So what we're trying to sense is that okay, this at least brought in enough attention and traction to a new space altogether. And So again, coming back to like what we think it unlocks is like various use cases that we are interested in, and like what is next. So one of the things that I'm very excited about is like looking at under collateralized lending and how social graphs on Farcaster
Hmm.
can lead to unlocking under collateralized lending, right? So there's one use case because that's a if you build that, that can't be built in and get like you look at Web 2 and you can't do it in Web 2 permissionlessly. You rely on
Hmm.
someone to give you that kind of information and build on top of it. So I think those use cases will get unlocked now, and those are things that I'm serious about and excited about. Another play, I think, three verticals that we are taking it right. One is like around DegenFi or like Degen Finance, where we're looking at building things like DeFi stuff in a social setting on
Hmm.
Forecast. The other piece is around gaming, which you're looking at, and
Gaming, yeah.
yeah, you'll see fun games come out. I don't know if you've seen it, but like Degen Jack will launch, I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
excited for
gaming is so fun. I forgot about the gaming use case until that guy posted this new the farming game. I thought that was
yeah.
very cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, so you know, I've seen like being helping you out with some of the stuff on with FBI. I've seen a lot of newcomers to Farcaster. Like, what is Farcaster? How do I get started?
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
do you think like there's enough, I guess, information resources out there for someone completely brand new to Farcaster to start getting um, building on Farcaster, or like is that something also that's a struggle right now?
I don't think they planned on this going viral, and which is why
Yeah.
there's been a lot of community support around things. So, which is also beautiful to see. So, I think like for someone to get started, there are groups where you can go to. There's this on-chain frames group. There's like our own FBI group, and there's like other builder groups where you can find someone who's been who's built out a frame before, and see how you can get support and how to. It's pretty straightforward once you get it right.
Okay.
Lot of documentation around it. I think there's dev support within like dev channels and Farcaster, etc. I don't think there's like a one-stop repository of it. There's the like GitHub links. People have built out Notion pages, but not like in a cohesive way. I think yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because like even for me, I was like, okay, trying to get started building frames. I'm like, okay, I saw the documentation, it was helpful, but I think what was actually really necessary is the actual builders where I can go
Yeah,
to with any questions, more than the documentation, honestly. So totally get that. And how was the hackathon? Like, tell me
I mean,
more. What was going on with there? What was shipped? All of that.
so lots of yeah, I think I have like a document somewhere. On dude, though I think is mad. I'll tell you why. The first piece was we got like some $20,000 in sponsorships in like 2 days, right? Of putting this piecing
Crazy.
this together. It was fantastic to see. And then the craziest part was that within the 20K, right, that like there are X number of people that saying, okay, build this, we this is the bounty associated with it, and so on. And builders still chose to build things they found fun as opposed to chasing bounties. So which was like amazing to see because I'm like, okay, this is something I want to have fun with and not
Hmm.
something I want to chase like, $3,000-5,000 for. So my like personally, that was a huge win for me because I think that's the whole notion of India as a hub for developers that are chasing grants needs to change, and for that, like devs need to like make actions that lead to change in that kind of perception. So I think that trigger for me was amazing to see. Coming back to like what was shipped, I think there was again, I think Degen 5 got shipped first. There was like somebody enabled swaps in a frame.
In a
One
frame.
guy enabled perps in a frame called FERPs. Very cool.
Uh,
And, and one, so Degen Jack is coming out soon. One guy again built out this AI LLM thing that we launched, right? Based roast, which is
yeah,
quite yeah. And I think
very
Vaishal
good.
built something called Poke. He's not launched it yet, but there's basically like you remember Facebook Poke, right? It's
Yeah. Oh my God. I totally forgot
it's
about
just
that. That's so funny.
it's very funny. It's 100% viral product. So I think a lot of so we put down. So you know how the hackathon was structured in such a way where it wasn't about okay, go build what you want or an idea that you have. It was more of like 50, 35, 50 builders or so, right? Coming together in a small setting at a VC office and taking one conference room and saying, okay, let's throw ideas on a board and then help each other. So it was
Awesome.
like teams got formed there itself. It was very organic. We were brainstorming for everything. There's like a small, like, I think, board where we put down DeFi, NFT, gaming. Then we had like one huge play of dumb ideas that we should build. And so yeah, a lot of fun. I think a bunch of ships. I don't know. I don't know if serious projects came out of it yet. Legion Five is doing okay. They launched something around like lending also yesterday. So
Yeah, I'm loving the energy, like just that small when we all got together on the Discord to launch
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. We should.
roast. Oh, I just love that. It's like it's just like it's more social than it is for like getting the recognition for it, you know? It's just more for fun, and I love that so much. So,
Yeah,
okay, that's amazing. So tell me now, like, so first this was hackathon, huge success. And I also love how, you know, FBI is not just like enclosed to India. Like, obviously, I'm helping out here from my end, the US. Jesse is contributing. Like all of these people from outside are contributing, and I think I love how it's not that, you know, secluded community. Oh, only if you're in India that you can be a part of it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so this hackathon was a success. FarCon is happening in LA, and I know you
yeah,
want to do FarCon in Bangalore. So
yeah.
what's going on with that? Like, is
So
that in production?
chatting on it for a while, and in fact, like Chandresh had looked at venues in Bombay already when we started chatting, and so I've been speaking with a few people in Bangalore on like venue, etc. So what we're doing is that we'll do at the same. So I spoke with Graham, and we're doing it at the same point. Uh, I think 22nd May, that
May, yeah,
same date, right? And so we'll do it on the same day because it makes sense to make it like a cohesive event.
global.
And yeah, and from a like strategy point, what we're going to do now, because there's no, like, US already has a base and they've
Yeah.
done the like pre-existing relationships. It's easier for them to do things together because it's like the community getting together and like building, hacking, having like a good time. So for us, the way we want to do this is we're going to do a road to Farcon India, where we're going to do a bunch of meetups in different cities, uh, hosted by
Nice.
people around social experiences. Because again, Farcaster is a social network, and so we're gonna do like social things that people that have been in the Farcaster ecosystem long enough enjoy personally. So it'll be like smaller, like cultural things, right? I'll host maybe a dosa
Oh,
walk,
nice.
or I'll maybe like a football game, things that I personally enjoy. And similarly, other people will do like similar stuff in their cities, things that they enjoy, right? Rahul will do a painting workshop, etc. And bring in people, builders or not, together in a setting and talk about and jam, just how a social network should be. And that leads to us eventually getting to Falcon India, which will be a much larger
Hmm.
scale.
Nice, nice. Wow, okay. You know, I just thought of something. This, you know, this guy Jack, he's building Icebreaker.
Hmm.
It's like on-chain relationships and, you know, keeping track of who you've met and stuff. And I think it's very interesting. I'll send you a link to that. Definitely check it out. Maybe that could be implemented in like furthering this relationship that you meet people with on in these like
I think I've
upcoming
seen it.
meetups.
Yeah.
Jack, yeah. Icebreaker is really cool. I think we used it last Farcaster meetup in an NFT NYC. But yeah, like I love these like on-chain meetup, like social graph sort of mechanisms.
Yeah.
Interesting. And yeah, what's like what do you find interesting now in Farcast? Any ideas you've been like
Right.
thinking?
This undercollateralized lending piece, largely because
Hmm.
when you think lending and in the say Web2 IRL kind of world, when you think lending, it's basically you want, say, a loan of $100,000, and you have $20,000 in the bank, and you have fixed cash flow of, say, $8,000 coming in month on month. And based on that, the bank establishes a credit history, looks at your previous transactions, and then issues you a loan of $100,000. Right? On chain, the lending, the way it works is that you're looking at, if you have $100,000, you can get a loan for $40,000 or $50,000, because again, there's volatility and you need to account for that
Hmm.
risk, etc. And there's no way, like, it's very easy for someone to spin up another wallet if you were to not have that collateralized, right? So I think Farcaster and social graphs of people connecting and associating with them leads to value created that can be sort of accounted for in absolute terms and assessed in a risk management way, assigned a dollar value to it, and then people can get loans around it. So that's something like I'm looking at right now as a primitive of sorts that unlocks again a whole new sort of like social DeFi.
Okay. And like I think this is my lack of understanding in the DeFi space. So what do people usually use these loans for? Is it more in terms of converting it to fiat or more like on DeFi loans for
Yeah,
investing?
like use within the DeFi ecosystem, and you can potentially choose to like move it to fiat and still use that fiat, etc. But largely, from what I've known and seen, it's smaller time periods, DeFi usage, people farming yield,
Hmm.
etc. But in a real world scenario, you could unlock like a bunch of things with a primitive like this. But again, too
Got.
early. Yeah.
I just had this thought today, like with all this generative AI stuff,
Hmm.
like Pika and like text to image.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like people have done this already, but similarly, like Pika, make a frame where I can like a monkey running on the streets of New
Yeah.
York type of, okay, I want to generate it in a cartoon style. I can click cartoon and then generate and then, but I hope, frames can have that image video upload integration stuff. I don't think that's there yet, but
Yeah.
that is like another piece I'm interested in.
That I've seen have had some sort of like gamification around
Hmm.
minting, and
Hmm.
that's in itself that's been a huge unlock, right? And seeing like so much traction with people like clicking every single frame they see, and my sense is that V2 of frames would sort of double down on that and just make that
Oh,
experience easier, better, faster, tooling around that on how people can create again optionalities for that particular like those use cases. Again, that's my like hunch around the direction it should potentially take.
gaming, yeah. And then apart also from gaming, commerce, I'm very excited about. On-chain
Yeah,
commerce.
is that like I think there's still challenges around signage and custody on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's I think they will figure out ways to unlock it. As I remember, I think like Aniket from Bioeconomy was having this conversation with like I think internally or with the Farcaster team around this signage, right? Because like how do you use account abstraction? Can you
Hmm.
have like a native wallet? They already have a native wallet, right? Then how do you like is it secure enough for people to make transactions, trust that wallet internally within a frame's reference? I think that I don't think it will be a focus area now because I think they'll go the NFT route. But I
Yeah.
think maybe V3.
Yeah, hopefully V3, because I think Varun had posted like how would that flow look like if someone were to purchase something through a frame, the
Yeah,
signage and all of that. So I'm curious to see how that pans out. Very interesting.
yeah.
Do you think? No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think like there's so much you can do, right? Like, I one of the things, for example, like I go to Twitter now, and I'm thinking, okay, I like this tweet. How do I tip it, right?
Oh
And
my
so
God, yeah.
reached that point for me. And so it's this whole piece around like Legion tips was insane. You could write anything you want as long as you had those two keywords, right? And you could,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it's amazing. And I feel like if you could pay like that, and it will unlock so much.
Dude,
And
yeah, it's like a full new creator model.
yeah, exactly.
Instead of Twitter paying you, you're getting payment from your community, and I think that is more meaningful
Yeah,
than,
yeah.
yeah. And
I'm personally,
another thing is like I just don't feel the same like engagement on Twitter that I do feel on Farcaster anymore.
about it today, and so I posted the same thing, right, on Twitter, on Farcaster, and I've like a medium size, like a decent presence on Twitter, and now like somewhat on Farcaster, and I've realized that my engagement on Farcaster was just as much or higher, in a lot of ways, and like that let me think, why is that, right? So maybe the audience here is crypto native and understands what I'm doing and what I'm saying. So it's like it's bucketed, it's like that channeled approach to things. So these specific it's like showing an ad to someone who's
Hmm.
interested in that ad, right? And so I think that's why Farcaster works for crypto natives. That what would be interesting to see is like, how do you move out of this crypto native circle once
Hmm.
you've, because you're a social network, you're a social graph protocol. How do you move out of it? Maybe this is your GTM. This has worked out so far. Okay, what next? So I'm also interested in seeing how Dan like and Varun play that out.
Yeah, so I think Matt and I chatted about this in very early. Farcaster was just high signal, very deeply involved Web3 people.
Yeah,
Obviously
yeah,
now it's like come out of that a bit with channels and everything.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you know what I really like about channels is that on Twitter, because we are surrounded with like crypto tech Twitter, you're like kind of, I know you can shit post and all, but like just
Yeah.
as much, like personally, I felt pressured to only post tech
Oh,
related content. That was
yeah,
just me, I think, personally. But on Farcaster, I don't feel that pressure that I can just post whatever I want. It can be any topic, and I have a channel to post it in.
yeah. This
Um,
is how. Yeah. Okay, you bucketed it. Correct. I hear you. Yeah. I think
yeah,
it's
like
very.
I have so many interests, exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think this has been a long concern, right? I have a bunch of founder friends and who will maintain a digital persona. Uh, they're not like that in real life, but they will have this like pseudo learnings, tech, philosophy kind of vibe, because deviating from that is tricky on like how investors will perceive you, how customers will perceive you. So yeah, I think this is interesting. I don't know how much it helps, because like right now bucketing is easier, uh, but I think
Yeah. Were you like you're pretty big like content wise on Twitter, you still are, obviously. How do you think content works now on Farcast? Right now it's mainly builder energy. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I have found it to be like a very homely kind of place at this point. At least
Hmm.
like when I joined slightly before the hype, right? I joined earlier, like last year, or I think like when it started, but there's so much tech chatter at that point, and that I sort of like said, okay, this place is not fun. I'm bouncing, and to
Hmm.
coming now, when I found this place to be really fun. And from content point of view, I think I've seen people. I think it will go the Twitter route, unless
Mhm.
they categorically choose to make it not go the Twitter route, which is like stop botting, stop like these engagement farming kind of tricks, make sure that the algo doesn't uh, support those people that are like doing hacks
Yeah.
on like yeah. So I think like if you actively try and do that, that's the way to not make it another Twitter.
Yeah, true. I really like what's being done content wise. People are just experimenting. Screenshot essays. No one's really doing threads like that, you know?
Threads also picked on Twitter much later. So you never know
True.
what clicks, right? At what point in time. So my sense is that like Forecast is still figuring out the content play on what works and what doesn't work. We've seen like images, at least from what I've seen so far, like images work better than just text.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, it's also very similar for like other platforms, right? On like the LinkedIn or Twitter. Yeah. So, I mean, you still have to find a way for people to engage with you, for you to be a successful social kind of platform, because engagement is the currency for your platform. So I think you still have to optimize for things that give people those dopamine rushes. Yeah. So I think like
I was
yeah, you can't massively navigate away from a mainstream thing that has been like deeply researched and scientifically proven on how it works. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying with some of these videos. I want to try uploading more videos. Does that work also engagement wise? I'm also trying to experiment. One thing I do wish was I could cross post to different channels. I have like a piece of content. I wish I could post it in multiple channels at the same time.
Yeah, but
Just
I think like
because, yeah.
my sense is they've done it purposely to stop spam engagement and like people
Spam, yeah.
farming that kind of stuff, right? So I think what they would need to double down on is just like moderating it really well and incentivizing people that are moderating it really well, and just getting this like does this work in a particular channel versus like is this spam kind of ratio right?
Yeah, true. I think now it's because anyone can run their own channel. There's so many
Yeah,
overlaps.
it's also it's funny to see also, in fact, like so many channels. They're like everyone is just like creating a channel for whatever they people are, I think, like botting channels at this point.
And you have to pay warps too, so I don't know how they're doing that.
How it would be cool to give the people that have built out channels and have like a certain degree of following and engagement in those channels, like as like active minters of a particular NFT, etc. So I think people will start rewarding people, and that's the bet that these people are taking.
Oh yeah, no, the rewards, I am loving this creator, like this unlock in terms of creator rewards with
Yeah.
tipping. There's two
Hmm.
types. Like people are tipping degen and people are also tipping warps. Me
Yeah.
personally, I'm getting a lot of warp tips for certain casts that I do, but degen, I feel like okay, you know what? Now this is not the thing. There's two sort of creator rewards. One is for content and one is for
Yeah.
building. And I think degen is being sent for building and
Hmm.
warps are being tipped for just written content.
Oh, I'm receiving both tips so far, so I'm like, okay, something's clicking right with this foot.
Yeah.
There are
I know this is my personal thought because that's just how I've seen it, but like obviously it could be different, which I think is very interesting because now you have two
two ways
degen
to.
and one, yeah.
It's interesting. It brings people together. Brings like narratives that it plays. Brings like builder energy. Yeah, it's insane to witness this hype cycle again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think this is just it just broke through like it just in 2 weeks just broke through like a bunch of like
Yeah.
channels. Everyone knew knows about Farcaster now.
On like how to get started on Farcaster. People that have run large communities, people that run like venture capital houses, and like, okay, how do we get involved? What's happening? What's with the builder
How
energy?
do we get in?
Yeah, how do we get it? Yeah, that's the sense. And
Yeah.
I think the tricky part is, from my experience, is never how do you get hype, because that is gameable and solvable. How do you sustain hype is gonna be interesting.
Oh.
So I'm looking for like, what do frames look like, or what does Farcaster look like 2 weeks from now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they've just unlocked an incredible play with frames. It's like something you've never seen before. It's like a nice combination of a little internet tools
Yeah,
directly
yeah,
embedded into your feed, and I think
correct. Yeah,
it's just a new piece of technology at this point.
we've been talking about frames so much, and even internally, right, like at Dog with other builders, etc. And it's just like a bunch of ideas and things that we can do non-stop, right? Like I think Aaron pinged me the other day when like 404 came out, and saying like, okay, how do we do this using frames? And then we established, okay, it's slightly expensive to do 404 using frames. It'll be like some like $0.75 a mint, etc. So it's
Mm.
okay. It's expensive to run an NFT project like that, but it'd be very cool. I think like people are gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. I guess now I know I've asked this, but personally, what I'm looking forward to on Farcaster is like I feel like this is that time. You know when TikTok right before TikTok blew up and
Yeah,
you were a content creator and now that you've you were posting at that time right before it blew up, you're huge now. I think that is
yeah,
the same exact time we're at right now with Farcaster, and that is
yeah.
what I'm looking forward to. And I just want to push content out. You know, doesn't I don't have to find what I like the idea of having a personal brand rather than a niche. So
It's
push
really
out.
over.
You've done a very good job with that. You know that personal brand. We talked about this, right? Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, right? My only thing is that like before I double down on something, I try and wait for like 2 weeks. Okay, is this gonna sustain? And so far the hype is real. and products are getting shipped left, right. People are experimenting, the people building mobile versions, the people building React hooks and so on. And like the more you empower developers, the more like you unlock creativity and how that solves for like consumer growth. But is that sustainable for like one more week? And then I think it makes sense to like double down on content, etc., because like you
Oh
already
yeah.
have trust, you already have uh, existing relationships on this platform. It it only like sort of deepens connections. It only like you gets you amplified in the larger content circuit once this skyrockets, and we're already seeing that in a way.
Yeah, I was speaking to Cameron. He built the Girl Scout cookie frame.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
telling him, he's like, "What are you building?" I'm like, "I'm not really building right now. I'm trying to like understand what makes sense to build first."
Hmm.
And he was like, "I really like the content, right? I've always wanted to do content. I always say that I'm going to do content." And he's like, "You should just do it because right now content is people, that's how people like to interact right now on Farcaster. It's through good content.
Yeah,
Builder energy is already there. It'll be there.
correct.
Content is now the kind of way to go also, just to
But
start building up that side.
right, like from a content point of view, if we look at Farcaster, what exists today?
It's kind of just pictures, which is great. I mean, people are putting meaningful stuff out there in terms of ideas, personal life, but I feel like still there's no sustainable stream of content like there is with frame building frames and stuff. And also that's because of the client itself, right? It's not made for certain
Video.
levels like a video and all of that. Of course, there's video integration now, but some dude just actually built a photocast Instagram client for. I'll send it to you, but it's really cool. But yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Huddle was also launching on like Farcaster recent. They recently integrated, I think, and because we were building Showcast and the whole like chat relay thing, we launched this I think like in a couple of days,
Okay,
and
amazing.
yeah, it's been going on for a month. It's like my like longest burden on my head right now is to ship it, but it's finally at that stage where you feel comfortable putting it out
Cool,
there,
cool.
and it's a bigger project. But again, it's also video. It's also so I'm personally excited about just throwing so many things on the board right now on seeing what clicks, right.
See
So
what
those
works, yeah.
yeah, because it's like it's a huge playing ground, and there's so much value to be unlocked here. Yeah, those are like core areas. I think like we're gonna launch like gaming. We're gonna launch like DGenFi is gonna do like a bunch of
Oh,
others, and yeah, so lots of like specific areas of growth and
nice.
opportunity on Farcaster, which has never happened before, right? Like around one social setting. Yeah, it's a
They've
first
nailed it.
in the crypto cycle. It's a first, which is huge. Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
because everyone keeps building the same thing, right, in different shapes and forms, and every cycle there's like one narrative that comes along. Like my sense for this cycle is consumer crypto and memes.
Consumer crypto, yes. Oh, yes. The memes are going crazy. I love them. This is the first year Super Bowl. I'm always on Twitter during the Super Bowl. I didn't open Twitter like that. I was only on Farcaster, refreshing, refreshing.
Is I think like 13, 14 minutes a day, and for Webcast is like 1.5 hours. So it's just
Literally, yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I'm so excited now with FBI, and I'm hoping that event happens when I'm there, and we'll click a picture and we'll post it on Farcaster. It'll
yeah.
be the best thing.
And
But
I
yeah.
think it's going to be super fun because like last time when we did it, we had like 2 days to do it, and even then, base sent us pizzas, safe sent us chai. It was damn nice to see.
Oh my God.
It's so beautiful to see. And this time we've got base is sponsoring the whole thing. So
Oh,
I'm also
awesome.
quite excited about like how we like make it grander, etc. Bring like quality builders together, see what comes out of it.
Awesome. I'm so excited. This was I love talking to you about this sort of thing. So I'm excited to chat further. And this event, I'm definitely going to help you plan this. I really want to be involved.
Now,
So, yes, this is great, Soumya. Thank you.